You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter @RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
That is right, this show is just for the NBA fans. This is my 2022 NBA trade deadline recap here on the Jacob Valk Show. I am the Jacob Valk, except no imitation. Just to clarify what that means, even though there are other sports stories, the Oilers firing Dave Tippett, Jeremy Giambi passing away, I'll save all that for tomorrow. It'll come after my Super Bowl preview. Okay. On to the James Harden trade. It is official. James Harden and Paul Millsap are now 76ers. And in exchange, the Nets are getting Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, the Sixers' first rounder this year, which the Nets can defer to next year if they want to, and the Sixers' top 8 protected first rounder in 2027. If it doesn't convey in 2027, it'll be top 8 protected in 2028. If it lands in the top 8 again, the Nets will get 2 second rounders and cash. The Brooklyn Nets once sold a bobblehead set with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. It was a real nice bobblehead set, actually. I bought it. It had the Brooklyn Bridge in the background. Really nice bobblehead set. It was in my office. Now, the James Harden part of that set lies in a million pieces on my office floor. My God, it looks like a war zone. I did my best Rob Gronkowski impression. I can't believe it. I honestly cannot believe that this happened. 13 months after doing backflips over the Harden trade, he's a 76er. What a piece of garbage. You want to call me a hypocrite because I've defended James Harden all year? Fine, I don't care what you call me. You know what you call me? Call me a Nets fan. Call me someone who just wants the best for my team. I'm beyond furious. 13 months after forcing your way to the Nets, you say, no, that's it, I want out, get me to Philly. What was the point of all this? What was the freaking point? 16 damn games! You play that in a month and a half in the NBA! This big three spread it over 2 seasons! I mean, why waste my time? Every single freaking game I got myself juiced up for this stupid team, and it's enough already! God, do I feel like a buffoon? I have never felt this stupid before. Look, I've been wrong when it's come to sports before. Lord knows. I've made a lot of wrong picks. But I slammed my fist on the table for months, saying that the Nets would win an NBA title with James Harden. This is how it ends. We don't even get the Kawhi Leonard send-off. The Nets are done. Forget about it. They're not winning a title. You want to tell me they have a big three? They don't have a big three. The third part of that big three is someone who hasn't played all year. The second part of that big three is someone who doesn't play in home games. Because he's too much of a jerk to get the vaccine. What a jerk. God bless Kevin Durant. Seriously. God bless the man for signing long-term with this team. Would you sign long-term with this team? Here's a guy who does everything he needs to win. The last 3 playoff games that the Nets played last year, Durant played every single minute in 2 of those games. Almost single-handedly beat the Milwaukee Bucks. God bless the man. The guy deserves to be a freaking saint. Retire his number now. He's the only good thing the Nets have right now. I don't give a damn about I don't give a damn about anyone else. Fine, they're good players. They're very good players. They're not going to win anything now. Come on. Use your freaking noodle. The Nets are worse now than they were 24 hours ago. Just ride it out. Unless James Harden banged his fist on the table and said, I'm not going to play unless you trade me to Philly. I want out. I want to be a Sixer. This is a disaster. You don't trade James Harden. You let him walk. How bad does this look for the Nets? People are saying the Nets won this trade. People are saying this is a good haul for James Harden. No, it's not. There's no Maxey. There's no Thibault. Hallelujah, they got 2 firsts. One is going to be in the 20s this year. And the other one we're not going to see until 2027. Oh, what a disaster. What a freaking disaster. I'm going to need to revise Decades of Dumbass Decisions now. In case you're new to the show, I did like a March Madness style bracket inspired by something that Joe and Evan on WFAN did. Ranking the worst moments in my 4 teams' histories. It was actually very fun. I mean, it wasn't fun because it was reliving some really bad moments, but it was fun in the sense that it was kind of exciting to go back and go in depth on some interesting moments in my team's histories. I'm going to need to revise it now. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Give me until Tuesday, please. Please just give me until Tuesday to sort this out, because my head is still spinning. You want to hear something funny? I was wearing a James Harden t-shirt today. I was doubling down on the fact that the Nets wouldn't trade him. I believed Steve Nash. Fire his ass now! Here's my question. Do I keep my 2 other bobbleheads? Do I keep the Durant and Kyrie bobbleheads? Do I wait and see if they make a Simmons replacement? How great would it be if they made a Simmons replacement, but the only way that you could get it would be to return the James Harden bobblehead. And you couldn't return it in a million pieces. It had to be intact. Let's see, his arm is over there. His leg is in the corner. The backdrop is in the middle of the room. Oh, dear God. Come on, be honest. Do you really see the Nets winning anything now? I don't. How excited can I get about Ben Simmons? How excited can I get about someone who's never averaged over 17 points per game. How can I get excited about someone who hasn't played all year, who couldn't handle Philly? How is he going to handle New York? This guy fell apart against the Hawks. What am I supposed to do with that? Look, Seth Curry fills the Joe Harris role. And, I like the idea of Seth Curry and Joe Harris playing together. And for whatever it's worth, Curry's contract is up after next season. So, think about the lineup that the Nets can trot out. They're assuming the Nets re-sign Kyrie Irving, which God only knows if they will or if they won't. You could do Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons. You could do that. That can work. Fine. Fantastic. But is that better than the Sixers now? Is that better than the Warriors? Is that better than the Suns? Is that better than the Bucks? I can't trust Ben Simmons. I don't want it to come off like I'm killing Ben Simmons. I'll root for him. When he comes to the Nets, I have no choice. If he would have gone to the Blazers, I would have said fine. That's a great trade. Good job by the Blazers. For the Nets, I can't get excited about it. Sorry, I can't. James Harden is a better player than Ben Simmons. I like Seth Curry, and I like Andre Drummond. I love the fits of those guys. Fine. Okay, I get it. I understand that. The Nets haven't had a true center all year. Andre Drummond is a true center. Fine. I get that. Not better than James Harden. Again, unless Harden slammed his fist on the table and said, I want to be a Philadelphia 76er, I wouldn't have done this trade if I'm Sean Marks. Go on a Kawhi Leonard type run. Then let him go. I placed some bets on FanDuel for the Nets to win their division, their conference, and the NBA title. I just cashed out those bets. What faith can I have in this team now? I have no idea what's going to happen with Kyrie. I have no idea what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. KD, I love you. I really do, but it's unfair to expect you to win the NBA title by yourself. Oh, God. I am despondent. I called my dad to tell him about the trade. He tried to calm me down. Dad, I love you. I appreciate it. I really do. He made a good point. Wouldn't you rather have a team player than a selfish player? Because James Harden is selfish. Okay? Let's be fair. The man is selfish. So wouldn't you rather have a team player? Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, you can have the 10 most selfish players on earth on the Nets. If they win, I don't care. I understand that the Nets weren't winning. I get it. 9-game losing streak. In the play-in tournament right now. But does Ben Simmons really make the Nets better? Let's think about this for a minute, okay? Let's attack this logically. What's the starting five for the Nets right now? Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, LaMarcus Aldridge. Do you see that working? I don't. Ben Simmons needs the ball in his hands to be successful. You know who else is like that? Kyrie Irving. I hate the idea of Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons playing together. Simmons is an elite defender, and Lord knows the Nets need help on defense. But come on! You thought this offense was bad before? It's going to be worse now. What was one thing that we complained about with the Nets all year? Their lack of shooting. Their lack of spacing. The Nets just added the worst shooter in the NBA. There are players in high school right now that can shoot better than Ben Simmons. Again, I'm sorry, Ben. I'm sorry, Seth. I'm sorry, Andre. I'll root for you guys when you come here. I'm going to buy a Simmons jersey. I get all that. It's just, man, what a terrible day to be a Nets fan. I've seen a lot of people saying this is a win-win trade. It makes sense for the Nets. Good job, Sean Marks. No, I just don't see it. Maybe it's because I was so gung-ho on the Harden trade that to give up on him after 13 months, I look like an idiot. I just can't get excited about Ben Simmons. What's the last image we have of Ben Simmons? Him falling apart against the Hawks. Don't tell me this disqualifies me from rooting for him. Don't tell me that I can't get a Simmons t-shirt. Ben Simmons is a good player. Very good player. I wouldn't call him great. Oh yeah, Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons are going to lead the Nets to an NBA title. Oh, what about Kyrie Irving? What about him? Doesn't play in half the games. That mandate better change. Let's go, Mayor Adams. If Governor Hochul dropped the mask mandate, you can do something to enable Kyrie to play. Enough is enough. Here's the thing. Harden didn't like having to be the primary ball handler. What does he think he's going to be in Philly? The primary ball handler! What, you want to tell me he's going to split those duties with Tyrese Maxey? It's going to be just like Kyrie Irving. Okay, I understand during home games, Harden and Maxey can split the duties. I understand that. But the role won't be too much different. In the grand scheme of things, you'll still be asked to do a ton. Oh, and of course, Harden opts in to the player option for next year. Great. Freaking great. I'm sorry, this is a terrible job by Sean Marks. I just don't understand it. You needed Thibault. You needed Maxey. Maybe Maxey was always off the table. Thibault wasn't. At least I don't think he was. I mean, come on. You've got to get more. After what you gave up to get this guy, this is the return you get? I mean, the Sixers couldn't wait to get rid of Ben Simmons. Seth Curry's fine, good shooter. Great shooter, as a matter of fact. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Andre Drummond's a good traditional center. I like Drummond, I really do. But I didn't think the Nets liked traditional centers. Were there moments where they could have used one? Yes, but I didn't think Steve Nash liked traditional centers. Is Steve Nash the right coach for this team? I don't know. I don't think so. You gotta think a better coach would have found a way to keep Harden. Would have found a way to keep him happy. Mike D'Antoni did. Ugh. Daryl Morey. Daryl freaking Morey. Does he get investigated for tampering? Can we please investigate this guy for tampering? Even if you don't find anything, he's got to be investigated. He's the one who caused all this dysfunction, all the rumors, all the leaks. Give him credit. He played the game and he won. He got the Nets to blink. He said Maxey was untouchable. No Maxey. Towards the end, he said Thibault was untouchable. No Thibault. Just a player who can't shoot. And two role players. for one of the best players in the NBA, for an all-star, for a triple-double threat every night. The Nets just got exponentially worse. The Sixers got better. What's one thing they've been missing all year? A second superstar to play with Embiid. They got one. And to think, they didn't even need to overpay for him like the Nets did. Oh God, do I feel like a buffoon? I'm sorry, Evan Roberts. You were 100% right. I just feel like such an idiot. You know what? I feel lied to also. I was told by the Nets, I was told by my team that this trio would be the best combination of talent in NBA history. 16 freaking games. A second round playoff exit. And now this. 13 months after James Harden gets to the Nets, he's gone. I had a lithograph of the big three, Durant, Harden, and Irving. The frame didn't break when I took it off the wall. I may need to try again. I'm despondent. This is a dark day in Nets history. Maybe it won't be. Maybe I'll be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe all along Ben Simmons was the missing piece for the Nets. Maybe all they needed was a slasher and a great defender, and someone who's a great shooter, and someone who's a really good traditional center. I don't know. But I can tell you, I think they got worse. James Harden's a better player than these guys. I hope the Nets aren't done. I'll say that. Let's keep going. Maybe Jeremy Grant? I'm not the biggest Jeremy Grant fan in the world, to be honest with you. I think he's putting up a lot of empty numbers on a bad Pistons team. Another good defender. Decent bucket getter. He'd make the Nets better, I'll say that. I just don't know if it's worth trading Harden. I don't think it is. Maybe that was the big plan here. Maybe the Nets just wanted depth. They realized they needed depth, which is true. I mean, they needed to better prepare themselves for injuries and stuff like that. Look at them now. They've lost 9 straight with Durant out. That's inexcusable. I don't care if your best player is out. You can't lose 9 straight. I am just despondent right now. That's the word for it. I am absolutely despondent to James Harden. And I'm talking to you directly here. Please, 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 from the bottom of my heart, go do something to yourself that's very difficult unless you do a lot of yoga. Believe it or not, there are some other trades to talk about. Do I want to talk about them? The answer is no. I'm just so despondent about Harden. I want to crawl up in my bed and forget about sports. The Nets actually play tonight. They're playing the Wizards in D.C. Yay! Kyrie Irving's gonna play. Oh, fun. Maybe the Nets will only lose by 20 tonight. I don't know, maybe I'll watch an old movie or something. There's a part of me that honestly doesn't want to watch any sports until the Super Bowl. I don't know, maybe I'll watch the Islanders. I just don't know if I can watch basketball. Not even college basketball. I don't know, I'm so blasted despondent. I have a Harden shirt. I want to go in my backyard with lighter fluid and a match. Alright. Let me compose myself. In all seriousness, there are other trades to discuss. I'll start with the big 4-team trade between the Bucks, Clippers, Kings, and Pistons. The Bucks acquired Serge Ibaka, 2 second-rounders from the Pistons, and cash. The Los Angeles Clippers acquired Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye. The Sacramento Kings acquired Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Jackson, and Trey Lyles. And the Pistons acquired Marvin Bagley. Let's go team by team here. I like this trade for the Bucks. Brook Lopez has been out basically all year because of back surgery. I mean, they've needed big man help all year. They had DeMarcus Cousins for a little bit. They actually have Greg Monroe, but he's only played in 3 games for them. The Bucks really needed to improve their big man depth. And now with Giannis, Bobby Portis, and Serge Ibaka, that's scary. I mean, that's really scary. Also, Lopez should be back sooner rather than later. So you can run Giannis at the 4 with Ibaka as his backup, and Portis at the 5 with Lopez as his backup. So I like this trade for the Bucks. It makes sense. As for the Clippers, I'm not crazy about this deal for them. I know Serge Ibaka wasn't having a huge impact for him, but he was only playing 15.5 minutes per game. That's a career low for him. Rodney Hood has fallen off a cliff the past couple seasons. Again, I like Semi Ojeleye. Good player. Wanted him on the Nets at one point. But he's not better than Serge Ibaka. Rodney Hood isn't better than Serge Ibaka. Those 2 guys together aren't better than Serge Ibaka. The Clippers are trying to stake their claim to the 8th seed right now and maybe go a little higher than that. I don't think this trade helps them do that. Bad job by them. As for the Kings, I understand why they did this. I know Kings fans had soured on Marvin Bagley. I know I talked him up the other day, and people got on me for that. It's like, Jacob, the guy can't stay healthy. Why are you counting on him? Yeah, I know he can't stay healthy. And look, I wasn't a big fan of him coming out of Duke. But you can't deny that when he's healthy, he's a good player. The last 3 seasons, he's put up over 14 points. He's put up over 7 rebounds every year. Really, really good interior presence. I mean, I like Bagley. And he's young, he's 22. I wouldn't have given up on him. I mean, I don't get this for the Kings. They just traded for Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday. Why did they need to add another wing? DiVincenzo doesn't fit them. Josh Jackson's nothing special. Not a bad player, but not a great one. It is his birthday, though, so happy birthday. He turns 25 today. His birthday gift is he gets to be closer to home. He was born in San Diego. Now he has to go to Sacramento. I'm not sure how close San Diego is to Sacramento, but it's a lot closer than Detroit was. I'll tell you that. And Trey Lyles is another good player. I do like him. I wanted him on the Nets at one point. He's having a really good year this year. Career high in points per game, but how much can you read into that? He's playing for the Pistons. Players on bad teams have a tendency to get overrated. I mean, someone's got to score for him. Jeremy Grant's putting up 19 points per game. He's shooting 40% from the field and 33% from beyond the arc. No one's going to mistake this guy for Joe Dumars anytime soon. So maybe they got more of a sure thing in Lyles, and they got a solid player in Jackson, and a solid player in DiVincenzo. Even though he's having a bad year this year, he is a good player, good shooter when he's on. I just don't know how you make these pieces fit in Sacramento. And finally, for the Pistons, this makes perfect sense for, like I said, Bagley's young, he's 22. He's worth the dart throw for the Pistons. I mean, say what you want about the Pistons right now. They're the worst team in the NBA. But they do have some exciting young players. Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Frank Jackson, Hamidou Diallo, and now Bagley. This makes perfect sense for them. They gave up 2 older players in 2 seconds to get a player who you get the sense there's still something there. I really like this trade for the Pistons. I think they won it. The Bucks are the runner-up. Nothing against what the Bucks did here. I just like what the Pistons did more. I'll say the Kings are third. At least they got 3 solid players. And the Clippers are fourth. They got a lot worse. Like I said, Hood has fallen off in the last couple years. And Semi Ojeleye is solid. Nothing more. Moving on now to the Spurs. Trading Thaddeus Young, Drew Eubanks, and the Pistons second rounder this year. So that's going to be a high second to the Raptors for Goran Dragic, their lottery protected first rounder this year. If it doesn't convey this year, it'll be top 13 protected next year. If it doesn't convey then, it'll turn into 2 future seconds. And I like this trade for both teams. Goran Dragic has barely played this year. He's only gotten into 5 games. The Raptors have wanted to get rid of him for a while. There was a thought that the Raptors would have to buy him out. They don't have to do that. The Spurs get to do that if they want to. You get the sense that they will. Dragic doesn't make a ton of sense for the Spurs. So in exchange for a guy who they had no use for, they get Thaddeus Young, a player who I've always liked. I think I've told this story before. Someone asked me what the first thing I'd do was if I was Sean Marks. And this was when Marks first took over the Nets. I said I'd pull Brook Lopez and Thaddeus Young into my office and say, I am building around you guys. You guys are the 2 best players we have. I believe in you guys. You're going to lead us to the promised land. Needless to say, Marks didn't do that. Traded Young for Karis LeVert. And LeVert gets traded for James Harden. Notice how everything goes back to Harden? Gotta love it. But I like Thaddeus Young. I've always liked him. Good mid-range game. Good defender. Very good player. Very underrated player. Same thing with Drew Eubanks. Very good rebounder. Good interior presence. Not the best defender in the world. But you get the sense that maybe, just maybe, he could be taught to improve his defense. He's 25. Not impossible to think that you could teach him new tricks. And you get a high second rounder. That's basically going to be a first. So, good job by the Raptors. As for the Spurs, in exchange for taking on Dragic's contract, you get a protected first rounder. Odds are you will get it. The Raptors are the 6th seed right now. They're playing excellent basketball right now. They've won 7 straight. I think they will make the playoffs. So the Spurs will get their pick this year. Good job by them. Even trade for both teams. Moving on now to the Celtics, trading Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, their top 4 protected first rounder this year, and a pick swap in 2028 to the Spurs for Derek White. And this is a great trade for the Celtics. It makes sense for the Spurs. I know why the Spurs did this. But it really makes sense for the Celtics. The Celtics are in the playoff hunt right now. They just saw the Raptors get better. The Nets have lost 9 straight. The Hornets have lost 6 straight. Their window is wide open, but they needed to keep up with the Raptors. They don't want to be in the play-in tournament if they don't need to be. So yeah, upgraded shooting guard. I have no problem with that. Derek White is a better player than Josh Richardson. White's a good penetrator, good from the charity stripe, very good defender, not a good shooter. But I think overall, White is the better player. And I don't mind them giving up Romeo Langford, even though I always believed in him, always thought he had potential. You got the sense that it would never really work out for the Celtics. It seemed like they would never really give him a chance. He's 22. I'm not giving up on him, though. I'll say that. Is Derek White worth 2 firsts? In a perfect world, probably not. But in all fairness, the Celtics' first rounder this year isn't going to be a great one. I don't think it's going to be a lottery pick. And a pick swap in 2028 isn't awful by any stretch. I get what the Celtics are doing here. They got better. I can't fault them for that at all. Good job by them. I know why the Spurs did this. White really doesn't fit what they're doing. He's 27. You'd think that White would be younger, but he's 27. Do the Spurs need a 27-year-old player who's not going to get any better? No, a guy like Romeo Langford makes more sense for him. And anyone could use a guy like Josh Richardson, really good three-point shooter. I like this trade for the Spurs. It makes sense for them. Good trade for them. But it's a great trade for the Celtics. They got a lot better here. Moving on now to the Hornets. Trading Vernon Carey, Ish Smith, and a second rounder to the Wizards for Montrezl Harrell. And you remember when I said that the Hornets were playing really bad basketball right now? They've lost 6 straight. If that's not a signal for them to get better, I don't know what is. They've got to keep up with the Joneses. They've got to stay close in the playoff race. The Raptors just got better. The Celtics just got better. Well, the Hornets just got better. Montrezl Harrell is a really good backup center. And that is something that the Hornets have lacked all year. Nick Richards isn't going to get the job done. Harrell is one of the best bench players in the league. He's putting up 14 points per game this year. You remember how good he was with Lou Williams? I think he'll be just as effective with LaMelo Ball. Like, it wouldn't stun me if Mason Plumlee started, but Harrell got more of the minutes. Harrell's a better player than Mason Plumlee. I really like Mason Plumlee, former Net. But Montrezl Harrell is better. It's kind of funny. You look at the teams that are 5 through 9 right now in the Eastern Conference. The Sixers got better. The Raptors got better. The Celtics got better. And the Hornets got better. The one team that didn't get better is the Brooklyn Nets. Gotta love it. As for the Wizards, you gotta think there was a better haul out there than Vernon Carey, Ish Smith in a second. I mean, Ish Smith is not a bad player by any stretch. He's been in the NBA for 11 years. And Lord knows he's accumulated some frequent flyer miles. He's been a Piston, a Wizard, a 76er, a Sun, a Magic, a Hornet, a Thunder, a Rocket, a Pelican, a Buck, a Grizzly, a Warrior, and now he's back to the Wizards. Good player. Role for him in the league, obviously. The fact that you're traded so much means that a lot of teams want you. I mean, we make jokes about guys like that, but no, it's actually a badge of honor. He's a good player. But he just doesn't fit what the Wizards are doing. If their plan is to reshape their roster, and I'll get into the Porzingis trade in a little bit, is Ish Smith really better than Spencer Dinwiddie? Come on. What, you wanted to get worse at point guard to get better in the front court? That doesn't work for me. And I really liked Vernon Carey coming out of Duke. I'd like to see what he can do if given extended playing time. I'm not ready to give up on him. He's 20 years old. I'll say this, his G League numbers are really good. I think there's some talent there. But if you had your heart set on retooling your roster, this was not the trade you needed to do for Montrezl Harrell. Bad job by the Wizards. The Hornets easily win it. Okay, on to the Porzingis trade. The Wizards are getting Porzingis and a second rounder. Meanwhile, the Mavericks are getting Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. There is no question that the Porzingis trade for the Mavericks was an abject failure. Porzingis struggled with his health, never played in 60 games for the Mavs, struggled in the playoffs last year, was really good in the regular season. I mean, this year he was putting up 19 points per game. The thing is, though, that came more from the interior. You don't want Porzingis in the interior. It's not that he can't do it, but part of what makes him the unicorn in Porzingis is his ability to hit threes at 7'3". You know what his 3-point percentage is this year? 28.3. You know what it was last year? 37.6. And people got on me for praising Rick Carlisle the way that I did. I mean, I'll say this. the Mavericks did get better. It's been clear for a while that Porzingis wasn't going to work out long-term for the Mavs. So they got a really good player in Spencer Dinwiddie. You're never going to hear me say a bad word about him. Granted, he didn't have the impact that you really wanted him to have in DC. But he wasn't awful. Put up 12.5 points per game. Was a good passer. See, the thing is, Dinwiddie's a guy who needs the ball in his hands to be successful. Who's going to have the ball in his hands in Dallas more often than anyone else? Luka Doncic. So is Dinwiddie going to come off the bench? Is that the plan? The plan is for Dinwiddie to be the sixth man, like he was for the Nets? I don't mind that. It's just a bad look to trade Kristaps Porzingis for a sixth man. And Davis Bertans makes sense. He's a flamethrower. I understand he's having a bad shooting year this year. But you can attribute that to the Wizards system. I think in Dallas he'll be really good. He'll get more open opportunities playing with guys like Luka and Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson and Tim Hardaway and Dorian Finney-Smith and guys like that. Look, this is an interesting trade for both teams. The Wizards want to try to keep Bradley Beal happy. The roster that they had didn't work, so they want to retool it. They want to bring in a guy in Porzingis who I think will work with Bradley Beal. I actually like the idea of the two of them playing together. And Ish Smith is a fine player, but if I'm Bradley Beal, I'm looking at the Wizards and saying, yeah, I'm still not going to win a title here. I'm going to leave. I know Beal has been a good soldier, but I do think he's going to leave in the offseason. As for the Mavericks, while the optics may be bad, it's actually a good trade. Porzingis wasn't going to work in Dallas. That was clear for a while. So you get a really good player in Spencer Dinwiddie to anchor your bench unit and a flamethrower in Davis Bertans. The Mavericks win this trade easily. On a horrible contract. 5 years at $80 million. That's a terrible deal, no question about that. Mavericks. I don't think he's a great owner. I think he thinks he's smarter about basketball than he actually is. But he puts money into the team. Give him credit for that. And as for the Wizards, what's the point in clearing salary? Who do you expect to get in free agency? I just don't get that logic from the Wizards' end of things. Alright, so that's going to do it for today. I'm still upset. But this was certainly an eventful NBA trade deadline. No question about that. Tomorrow, you're going to get my Super Bowl preview. I'll also break down the other stories in sports like Dave Tippett and Jeremy Giambi. Until next time, I am Jacob Valk saying, screw you, James Harden.